Have you ever noticed that there are people around you who seem to drain all your energy? That whenever you're near them, it feels like a dark cloud forms over your head? Today you will discover 12 spiritual warnings that the divine is sending especially to you, born under the sign of Leo, alerting you to those people who are blocking your light, preventing you from shining with all the intensity you deserve. And pay attention, because if you ignore these signs, you may end up missing incredible opportunities that are coming into your life now. The universe isn't playing games when it comes to protecting your energy, and these warnings are so clear that you'll be surprised to recognize each one in your own story. Get ready, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly who needs to step away from your life so that your light can shine brightly again. And I'll tell you something you may not know yet. The divine has tried to warn you several times, but you may have ignored the signs out of fear, attachment, or simply because you didn't understand what was happening. But today that changes. Today you will recognize each of these 12 spiritual warnings and finally understand why some people need to stay behind while you move forward. Stay until the end, because the last warning is the most powerful of all and can completely change how you view your relationships from now on. Warning 1. You feel inexplicably tired after being with certain people. The first spiritual warning that the divine is sending you, Leo, comes through your own body. Pay close attention to this. You spend a few hours with certain people, and when you leave them, you feel a tiredness that makes no sense. You didn't do anything particularly difficult, you didn't have a tough day, but even so, it feels like you ran a marathon. Your legs feel heavy, your head starts to ache, and all you can think about is lying in bed and sleeping. This isn't just ordinary physical tiredness. It's energetic, spiritual tiredness. And do you know why? Because these people are literally draining your vital energy. Every negative word they speak, every complaint, every story of suffering that leads nowhere, all of this pulls away your light, sucks that radiant energy that is natural to those born under the sign of Leo. The divine is showing you through your own body that something is wrong. It's using the clearest language possible: tiredness. Because when you're with people who uplift your energy, who add to your life, you can spend the whole day with them and feel invigorated, energized, full of life. But with those who block your light, the exact opposite happens. You feel empty, exhausted, as if someone has stolen a piece of you. And that's exactly what happened. These people are like energy vampires, feeding on the light of others because they can't generate their own. They live in darkness and need the light of others to survive. And you, generous as every Leo is, ended up allowing this to happen for too long. But now the universe is saying enough is enough. It's showing you that you need to protect your energy, that you need to choose very carefully who can be close to you, because your light is too precious to be wasted on those who don't know how to value it. So pay attention to this first warning. The next time you feel that strange tiredness, that feeling that someone has sucked all your energy, stop and think, who was with me? Who did I spend the last few hours with? And you'll start to identify a pattern. Always the same people. Always those encounters that leave you exhausted. This is the divine clearly showing you who is blocking your light. Warning 2. Your dreams become heavy and disturbing after contact with someone. The second spiritual warning comes during the night, while you are sleeping. And this is one of the most powerful signs that exist, because it is in the dream world that the veil between the physical and the spiritual becomes thinnest. Have you noticed that after spending time with certain people, your dreams completely change pattern? If before you had peaceful dreams, or didn't even remember them, suddenly you start having nightmares, confusing dreams, full of fights, chases, distressing situations. You wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, with a racing heart, feeling an anxiety you can't explain. Or you spend the whole night having dreams so intense and tiring that you wake up more tired than when you went to sleep. This is not a coincidence. The spiritual plane is trying to show you through dreams that the energy of that person you spent time with during the day is interfering with your peace, even your deepest rest. Dreams are the language of the soul, and when your soul is disturbed by negative energies, it expresses this through symbolic images while you sleep. It's as if your spirit is fighting during the night to rid itself of that heavy energy that clung to you during the day. And you know what's even more interesting? Often you have dreams where you're arguing with that person, or running away from them, or being attacked by them in some way. This is your subconscious showing you the true nature of that relationship, without the filters that the conscious mind applies during the day. Because during the day you can make 1,000 excuses to justify why you keep that person in your life. You can say they're family, that you've known them for a long time, that deep down they're not a bad person. But at night, when you're vulnerable and defenseless, the truth appears. And the truth is that that relationship is deeply harming you. The divine uses dreams as a tool for direct communication with you. Because he knows that during the day you can ignore the signs, you can rationalize and find explanations for everything. But when you're sleeping, there's no escaping it. The message arrives clear and strong. So pay close attention to your dreams, especially after social gatherings or long conversations with certain people. Start writing down these dreams as soon as you wake up. Write down everything you remember, no matter how confusing it seems, and then observe the pattern. You will notice that whenever you spend time with those specific people, your dreams become restless that night. This is the second spiritual warning showing you that something is very wrong and that you need to distance yourself. If this message resonated with your zodiac sign, trust me, it's no coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it sends exactly the right signal, and you're here because you needed to hear this today. Your contribution as a subscriber or member is what keeps these messages alive, messages that touch, awaken, and transform lives. And if this video made sense to you, leave your birth date in the comments. Now let's continue with our video. Warning 3. You start doubting yourself after conversations with this person. The third spiritual warning is extremely subtle, yet devastating. It shakes your self-confidence, that inner certainty that every Leo naturally possesses. You realize that before talking to a certain person, you were sure of your decisions, confident in your plans, believing in your potential. But after a simple conversation with them, everything changes. Suddenly you start questioning everything. Am I really capable? Isn't this dream too big for me? Won't people laugh at me if I try this? All these doubts appear out of nowhere, right after you have contact with that person. And you know what's happening? This person is planting seeds of insecurity in you, consciously or unconsciously. They may do this through seemingly innocent comments, those disguised as concern or advice. They say things like, "Are you sure about this? Don't you think you're being too bold? What if it doesn't work out? Have you thought about everything that could go wrong?" Other times they don't even need to talk directly about your plans. She simply starts talking about her own failures, her own limitations, how difficult the world is, how mean people are, how nothing ever works out. And all that negativity seeps into your mind like a slow poison. Because you're a Leo and have a generous heart, you absorb the pain of others, you try to understand, you empathize. But the problem is that by doing this, you end up letting that person's limited view of life contaminate your own. The divine is alerting you through this feeling of doubt that arises after these encounters. It's showing you that that person isn't aligned with your purpose, isn't vibrating at the same frequency as you. And when two people vibrate at very different frequencies, the one with the lower vibration always tries to pull the other down to their own level. It's not malice most of the time. It's simply an emotional survival mechanism. The person can't stand seeing you shine because it reminds them of their own darkness. So they need to dim some of your light to feel better about themselves. And you, without realizing it, allow this to happen. Keep letting those words echo in your head. Keep giving space for doubt to grow, until you reach a point where you no longer recognize the confident person you once were. You look in the mirror and see someone insecure, hesitant, afraid to take the next step. And all this because you allowed the wrong people access to your mind and your heart. The universe is telling you now, stop this. Recover your self-confidence. Distance yourself from those who plant doubts in you. Because you were born to lead, to shine, to conquer. And no one, absolutely no one, has the right to dim your light. Warning 4. Your achievements are never celebrated by this person. The fourth spiritual warning is so obvious it hurts when you finally realize it. Think about the last few times you achieved something important. It might have been a promotion at work, a successful project, a personal goal you finally reached. Now think about how the people around you reacted. Some were genuinely happy for you, celebrated with you, and recognized your effort and merit. But there were also those people who couldn't show true joy for your victory. They might have congratulated you, but it was a cold, quick, emotionless congratulations. Or they immediately followed it up with, "But be careful not to let it go to your head." Or "Now comes the hard part," which is maintaining it. Or any other comment that diminishes your achievement. Some don't even acknowledge what you've accomplished. They simply ignore it, change the subject, or start talking about their own achievements to divert attention from you. This is called envy. And envy is one of the most destructive energies that exists on the spiritual plane. When someone is envious of you, even if they don't show it openly, that negative energy is like a poisoned arrow pointed in your direction. It creates an energy blockage that prevents good things from reaching you. It's as if the envy of others creates an invisible barrier around your blessings. The divine is showing you through this warning who truly cares for you and who secretly wishes for your failure. And this can hurt a lot, especially when you discover that people you considered friends, or even close family members, are incapable of genuinely rejoicing in your victories. But you need to see this truth, however painful it may be. Because continuing to keep these people around is like trying to grow a plant in poisoned soil. No matter how much you water it, how much sun you give it, the plant will not thrive if the soil is contaminated. Your life is like that. You can work hard, strive to the utmost, do everything right. But if you are surrounded by envious people, by people who can't celebrate your achievements, you will feel that something is always preventing your complete growth. You will have the feeling that you are always fighting against an invisible force that pulls you down. And it is. It's the energy of envy working against you. That's why the universe is asking you to pay attention. Who is truly happy when you shine? Who celebrates your victories as if they were their own? These are the people who deserve to be in your life. The rest you can let go. Because you deserve to be surrounded by those who illuminate your path, not those who try to extinguish your light. Warning 5. You feel a pressure in your chest when you think about meeting this person. The fifth spiritual warning comes directly from your body, more specifically from the heart region. Have you ever noticed that when someone calls you or texts you, or when you need to go to a place where you know you'll meet a certain person, you feel a strange sensation in your chest? It's as if something is squeezing, as if you can't breathe for a moment. Some people describe it as pressure, others as a weight, others still feel a stabbing or a tightness. Everyone feels it in their own way, but the important thing is that you feel it. And this is not common anxiety. It's your body warning you of an energetic danger. The heart is the most important energy center of the human being. It is through it that we feel love, compassion, true joy. But it is also through it that we pick up negative energies directed at us. When your heart contracts in the presence of someone or even just thinking about that person, it is functioning as a spiritual alarm system. It is telling you, danger, this person is not good for you, protect yourself. And the most interesting thing is that this bodily warning happens even before you have any conscious thought about the situation. It's instinctive, automatic. It's the divine using your own body as an instrument of protection. But do you know what happens most of the time? You ignore that warning. You rationalize saying, oh, it's just a little nervousness, it'll pass. Or, I'm exaggerating, it can't be that bad. And then you go to the meeting, answer the call, reply to the message. And then you regret it. Then you realize you should have trusted that first sign. Because invariably that meeting ends up making you feel bad, that conversation ends up disturbing you, that person manages to somehow ruin your day. How many times has this happened to you? How many times have you felt that tightness in your chest, ignored it, and then regretted it? The universe is asking you now to start paying attention to this precious warning. When you feel that pressure in your chest, stop. Take a deep breath. And ask yourself, do I really need to have this contact now? Does this person really deserve access to me at this moment? And most of the time the answer will be no. You'll realize that that meeting can wait, or that conversation can be avoided, or that you simply aren't obligated to be available to everyone all the time. Your emotional and spiritual well-being comes first. Always. And if your heart is telling you that something isn't right, trust it. Because the heart doesn't lie. It knows truths that the mind is still trying to deny. It sees through the masks people wear. It feels the real energy behind pretty words and fake smiles. So respect the signs your heart is giving you. It's working in partnership with the divine to keep you protected. Warning 6. You notice that you become ill or unwell after prolonged contact with certain people. The sixth spiritual warning manifests itself through your physical health. And this one is very serious because it directly affects your physical body. Have you noticed that whenever you spend a lot of time with certain people, you end up getting sick soon after? It could be a flu that appears out of nowhere, a severe headache, stomach problems, body aches that have no explanation. Or you don't get exactly sick, but you feel that general malaise, that feeling of heaviness in your body, that nothing is working right. Traditional medicine may not find any physical cause for these symptoms. The tests may all come back normal, but you continue to feel unwell. And do you know why? Because the origin of the problem is not physical, it's energetic. There is a direct link between your emotional and spiritual state and your physical health. When you are surrounded by negative energies, when you are living with toxic people, your energy field becomes destabilized. And when the energy field is destabilized, the physical body suffers the consequences. It's as if your body's natural defenses are weakened. And then any virus, any bacteria, any imbalance can affect you. You become an easy target for illness. The divine is showing you through these bodily signals that those people are literally harming your health. It's not an exaggeration, it's not imagination. It's real. Their negative energy is affecting your immune system. It's disrupting the natural functioning of your body. And if you continue to ignore this warning, the symptoms will become increasingly serious. What starts as a simple headache can evolve into chronic problems if you don't take action, because the body will intensify the signals until you have no choice but to pay attention. It will force you to stop, to distance yourself, to take care of yourself. So it's best to heed the warning now, while it's still possible to make changes calmly. Observe the pattern. Write down when you get sick or unwell, and see what you did in the previous days. Who were you with? What places did you frequent? What kind of conversations did you have? You will begin to notice a clear connection between certain encounters and your physical discomfort. And when you realize this, there's no going back. You can no longer ignore the reality. Those people are harming you, and you need to distance yourself from them to regain your health and vitality, because you weren't born to live sick, tired, and without energy. You were born to be radiant, strong, and full of life. But for that to happen, you need to protect your energy field from harmful influences. You need to carefully choose who can enter your life and who needs to stay outside. Warning 7. Your projects always encounter obstacles after you share them with certain people. The 7th spiritual warning concerns your dreams and projects. And this warning can be devastating when you finally recognize it. Think about how many times you were super excited about a project, a new idea, a plan you were making. You were full of energy, you saw everything going right, you felt that things were finally going to happen. And then you decided to share your dream with someone. You told them all the details, explained what you were going to do, shared your excitement. And do you know what happened next? Everything started to go wrong. Obstacles arose that you hadn't foreseen. People who had promised to help disappeared. Opportunities that seemed certain closed down. The money that was almost guaranteed didn't come. And you were left without understanding what happened, because until that moment everything was flowing so well. What happened was that you shared your creative energy, your vision, your dream, with someone who didn't have the right vibration to receive that information. And that person, even unintentionally, even without being aware of it, energetically blocked your project. It may have been through envy, through doubt, through her own fear projected onto you. No matter the feeling, the result is the same. The energy of your project became contaminated. There's an ancient wisdom that says you shouldn't share your plans before you realize them. And that's not superstition. It's energetic protection. When you share a dream that's still in the realm of possibility, you're making that energy vulnerable to judgment, doubt, and the envy of others. And if the person you share it with isn't truly happy for you, doesn't genuinely believe you're capable, their negative energy will create interference in the path of your dream's manifestation. It's as if they're putting stones in your road without even leaving home. Because everything is energy. Thought is energy. Words are energy. And when someone thinks or speaks about your project with disbelief, envy, or negativity, that energy goes straight to the field where your dream is trying to materialize and creates barriers. The divine is alerting you through these repeated obstacles. He's showing you that you need to be more selective about who you share your plans with. Not everyone deserves to know your next steps. Not everyone has a pure enough heart to keep information about your dreams without energetically contaminating them. You need to learn to keep secrets, to work in silence, to share only when the project is already solid, when it has moved from the realm of ideas to the realm of reality, because then no one can stop it anymore. What's done is done. But while it's in the world of possibilities, protect it. Keep it to yourself. Work alone if necessary, because it's better to realize a dream alone than to see it destroyed by sharing it with the wrong people. Warning 8. You lose your creativity and motivation around this person. The 8th spiritual warning touches on something very precious within you. Your natural creativity. Leo is a fire sign, ruled by the sun, and this means you were born with a powerful creative energy coursing through your veins. You have ideas, you have inspiration, you see possibilities where others see limitations. But there's a serious problem. This creative flame can be extinguished if you associate with the wrong people. Have you noticed that when you're alone, or with certain people, ideas flow naturally? You feel inspired, motivated, wanting to create, to do, to build. But when you're around certain people, it's as if someone flips a switch inside you. The inspiration goes away. The motivation disappears. You look at your creative projects and no longer feel any desire to work on them. Everything seems meaningless, heavy, too difficult. And you wonder what's happening, why you lost that fire you had. The answer is simple. You are allowing people with low energy to drain your creativity. Because creativity is energy. It's a vital force that needs to be nurtured and protected. And when you're exposed to people who constantly complain, who only see problems, who don't have their own dreams, your creative energy is gradually stifled. It's like trying to light a fire in the rain. No matter how hard you try, the flames can't stay lit. The environment isn't conducive. The universe is showing you through this loss of creativity that you need to change your environment, or at least change the people you associate with. Because you can't fulfill your life's purpose without your creativity functioning fully. And your purpose as a Leo involves creation, involves expression, involves leaving your mark on the world through something unique that only you can do. But how are you going to do that if you're surrounded by people who block your creative energy? Impossible. You can try to force it, but the result will never be the same. It will lack life, it will lack authenticity, it will lack that magic spark that makes your work special. So pay attention to this warning. Observe when you feel creative and when you don't, and see the correlation with the people around you. You'll discover that there's a group of people who inspire you, who energize you, who make your ideas flow. And there's another group that has the opposite effect, that leaves you blocked, demotivated, without inspiration. Consciously choose to spend more time with the first group and less time with the second, or no time at all if possible. Because your creativity is sacred. It's your direct connection to the divine. It's the channel through which you bring new things into the world. And no one has the right to block that channel. Protect your creativity as if it were your most precious possession, because it truly is. Warning 9. You've had unexplained financial problems ever since this person came into your life. The 9th spiritual warning touches on a very sensitive area of life, finances. And this can be shocking when you realize the connection. Think about it. When did your financial problems begin or significantly worsen? Now think about who entered your life around that same time or a little before. Often you will discover that there is a specific person whose entry into your life coincided with the beginning of your financial difficulties. And this is not a coincidence. Energetically speaking, there are people who carry a vibration of scarcity, poverty, and lack. And when you get too close to these people, you end up entering the same vibrational frequency. It's as if you are pulled into the same energetic pattern of financial difficulty that they experience. Suddenly you start having unexpected expenses. The car breaks down, the refrigerator burns out, bills appear that you weren't expecting, or opportunities to earn money that seem certain simply don't materialize. You go to job interviews and aren't called back. You try to sell something and no buyer appears. You expect a payment and it is inexplicably delayed. Meanwhile, you feel like you're working harder and harder, but the money seems to slip through your fingers. There's another aspect to this situation. The person may be literally draining your financial resources. Maybe they're constantly borrowing money and never paying it back. Or they always show up with some emergency you need help solving. Or they convince you to make unplanned purchases. Or somehow they always end up financially benefiting from your presence while you lose out. The divine is alerting you through these financial difficulties that this person is blocking your prosperity. Their energy is not aligned with abundance. And as long as you maintain this close connection, you will continue to struggle financially. Because prosperity isn't just about working hard or having a good job. It's also about being on the right energetic frequency. And you can't raise your financial frequency if you're energetically tied to someone who lives in the frequency of scarcity. It's like trying to fly with a weight tied to your feet. No matter how much you flap your wings, no matter how hard you try, you can't rise. The weight pulls you down. Observe this pattern in your life. See if things have become more difficult financially since a certain person became close to you. And if you identify this connection, take action. Because you deserve prosperity. You deserve abundance. You deserve to have your efforts rewarded materially. But for that to happen, You need to free yourself from energetic ties that keep you trapped in patterns of scarcity. And that may mean distancing yourself from people you even like, but who simply aren't on the same financial vibration you want to achieve. Warning 10. Your romantic relationships are being interfered with by this person. The 10th spiritual warning has to do with your love life and your romantic relationships. And this one is particularly painful because often the person blocking your light in this area is someone very close, a family member or a longtime friend. You notice that whenever you start a new relationship, or when you are happy with someone, this specific person starts creating problems. They might make negative comments about your partner. They might say they don't like them, that they don't trust them, that they think you're making a mistake. Or they start planting seeds of doubt in your head, saying things like, "Are you sure they really love you? Isn't she interested in your money? Don't you think you're moving too fast? Be careful not to get hurt." And even when they don't say anything directly, you feel a tension in the air when they and your partner are in the same room. There's an energy of competition, jealousy, and disapproval. And this gradually undermines your relationship, because you are torn between the person you love and the person who is judging or interfering with you. You try to please both sides and end up pleasing no one, least of all yourself. There are even worse situations, where this person actively sabotages your relationship. They might tell your partner things out of context, invent gossip, or deliberately create embarrassing situations. All of this is driven by a feeling of possessiveness over you, or by envy of seeing you happy when they aren't. The divine is showing you through these repeated conflicts in your relationships that you need to establish clear boundaries, that you need to protect your emotional space from external interference. Because your relationship is yours, it doesn't belong to anyone else. And no one has the right to comment, judge, or interfere in your choice of who you decide to share your life with. Of course, it's good to listen to advice from people who truly love you, and who may be seeing something you're not seeing because you're in love. But there's a huge difference between genuine advice coming from a place of love and concern, and toxic interference coming from a place of jealousy, envy, or control. You need to learn to distinguish between the two. And when you realize that someone is simply trying to sabotage your romantic happiness because they can't stand to see you happy, you need to have the courage to distance yourself from that person. Even if it's difficult, even if it hurts, because you deserve to live your love in peace, without interference, without judgment, without sabotage. Your heart has already been through a lot, it has suffered enough. Now, when you finally find someone who makes you happy, you have the right to protect that happiness. And if protecting it requires you to distance yourself from people who can't rejoice in your love, then so be it. Warning 11. You feel like you're living someone else's life when you follow their advice. The 11th spiritual warning is about the loss of your identity. And this is one of the most serious warnings because it touches the essence of who you are. Leo is a sign of authenticity, of individual expression, of being who you truly are without apology. But when you are under the influence of people who block your light, you begin to lose that connection with your true essence. You realize you are making decisions that don't make sense to you, but make sense to the other person. You are following paths that are not yours, but are the ones someone else thought you should follow. You are living according to other people's expectations instead of living according to your own desires and values. And when you stop to think about your life, you have a strange feeling of living on autopilot, of playing a role, of not being yourself. This happens because you allowed another person's voice to become louder than your own inner voice. You began to doubt your intuition, your inner wisdom, and started to believe that the other person knew better than you what was good for you. And little by little you surrendered control of your life. You let someone else choose for you. You abdicated your personal power. The divine is calling you back to yourself through this feeling of disconnection. It's showing you that you lost your way, that you stopped being who you truly are to try to be who someone else thought you should be. And that is a spiritual tragedy, because you came into this world to express your unique individuality, to shine with your own light, to leave your personal mark. No one can do that for you. No one can live your life for you. And when you try to live according to someone else's script, you are wasting the precious gift that is your existence. You are betraying yourself. You are denying your purpose. So stop now. Stop following advice that doesn't resonate with your heart. Stop making decisions based on what others will think. Stop living to please someone who will never be satisfied anyway. Start reconnecting with who you truly are. Ask yourself, if I weren't afraid of others' judgment, if I didn't care about other people's expectations, what would I do? How would I live? What choices would I make? And then have the courage to live those answers. Even if the people around you don't understand, even if they disagree, even if they try to convince you that you're wrong. Because in the end, you're the one who will have to live with the consequences of your choices, not them. And it's much better to be wrong being yourself than to be right being someone else. Warning 12. Your spiritual body warns you through chills and sensations when this person is nearby. The 12th and final spiritual warning is perhaps the most direct of all. It's when your spiritual body communicates unequivocally through physical sensations. You feel chills down your spine without being cold. The hairs on your arms stand on end for no apparent reason. You have a strange feeling in the back of your neck, as if someone is watching you. Your stomach clenches, forms a knot. You feel chills, tingling, or a feeling of unease that you can't explain. And all this happens specifically when a certain person is nearby, or when you think about them, or when you receive a message from them. These signs are your spiritual warning system working at its maximum. It's your higher self, your intuition, your spiritual guides, all working together to protect you from an energetic threat. Because on the spiritual plane, you are seeing something that your physical eyes cannot see. You are picking up on that person's true intention, the true energy they carry, even if they are smiling and saying nice things. The body doesn't lie. It cannot be deceived by social masks or kind words. He senses real energy, true vibration. And when that vibration is incompatible with yours, when it is somehow harmful to you, the body immediately warns you through these sensations. The problem is that most people have been taught to ignore these signals. They've been taught that it's superstition, imagination, nonsense. And then you feel the chills, but you ignore them. You feel the unease, but you remain in the environment. You feel the warning, but you take no action. And then you regret it when something bad actually happens. The divine is now asking you to stop ignoring these precious warnings. That you begin to trust your intuition more than your reason. Because reason can be deceived. Reason wants logical explanations, it wants concrete proof. But intuition knows truths that are beyond logic. It accesses information that comes from the spiritual realm, where everything is energy, where there is no lie, where true intentions are visible. When you feel these chills, these tingling sensations, these strange feelings near someone, don't question them. Just move away. Trust that there is a reason, even if you don't understand what it is. Trust that the universe is protecting you. Because you are too precious to be left unprotected. You have an important mission in this life. And there are spiritual forces constantly working to ensure that you can fulfill that mission. But they can only help you if you pay attention to the signs, if you heed the warnings, if you take the necessary steps to protect yourself. So the next time you feel that inexplicable shiver, be grateful. Be grateful for having such an efficient spiritual protection system. Be grateful for not walking alone in this world. And then act accordingly. Distance yourself from those your spirit is warning you to distance yourself from. Because when the divine sends you 12 different warnings in 12 different ways, it's because the situation is serious. It's because you really need to take action. And that action is to free yourself from those who are blocking your light. If this message resonated with your zodiac sign, trust me, it's no coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it sends exactly the right signal. And you're here because you needed to hear this today. Your contribution as a subscriber or member is what keeps these messages alive. Messages that touch, awaken, and transform lives. And if this video made sense to you, leave your birth date in the comments. So my dear Leo, we have reached the end of this journey of spiritual revelations. And now you know the 12 warnings that the divine is sending you so that you distance yourself from those who block your light. You have seen how these warnings manifest in different ways. Through inexplicable fatigue, disturbed dreams, emerging doubts, uncelebrated achievements, chest pressure, health problems, obstacles in projects, loss of creativity, financial difficulties, interference in relationships, loss of identity, and the chills and sensations that your spiritual body sends you. Each of these signs is a gift from the universe, a form of protection, an alert so that you do not continue down a path that is not good for you. And now that you know all these warnings, you can no longer pretend you don't know. You can no longer ignore them, because from today onwards, every time one of these signs appears, you will recognize it. You will know exactly what is happening, and you'll have to make a choice. Continue ignoring and suffer the consequences, or finally have the courage to walk away from those who are blocking your light. And I want to tell you something important. Having that courage isn't easy. especially when the person you need to distance yourself from is someone close, someone who has been a part of your life for a long time, someone you somehow love or feel indebted to. But you need to understand that protecting your energy isn't selfishness. It isn't malice. It isn't a lack of love. It's self-care. It's recognizing your own worth. It's understanding that you also deserve to be a priority in your own life. And sometimes the greatest act of love you can do for yourself is to let go of people who are no longer aligned with who you are becoming. Because you are constantly evolving. You are growing, expanding, raising your consciousness. And some people simply won't be able to keep up with that growth. Not because they are bad, but because they are at a different point in their journey. And that's okay. You can be grateful for what you experienced together. You can wish these people well. You can even continue to love them from afar. But you are not obligated to sacrifice your own light to try to illuminate those who do not want to be illuminated. So today I challenge you to honestly reflect on the people who are part of your life. Take a piece of paper and a pen and write down the names of the people closest to you. And next to each name, mark how many of these 12 spiritual warnings you feel in relation to each of these people. You will be surprised, because you will realize that there are people on your list who accumulate several of these signs. And these are the people you need to distance yourself from. It doesn't have to be a dramatic break. It doesn't have to be a fight or a confrontation. It can simply be a gradual distancing. You start to become less available. You start to refuse invitations. You start to set boundaries. And little by little that person will leave your life, or at least cease to have so much power over you. And as you do this energetic cleansing work, you will notice incredible changes happening. You will feel light again. The energy will return. Creativity will flow again. Opportunities will begin to appear. Health will improve. Money will start to come in more easily. Relationships will become more harmonious. Because you finally removed the blockages that were preventing your light from shining. So if you've made it this far in this video, if you've heard all these warnings, it's because the universe really wants you to pay attention. It's because it's time for you to make important changes in your life. And I trust that you have the strength to do what needs to be done. Because you are a Leo. You were born under the sign of the lion, the king of the jungle, the natural leader, the one who is not afraid to roar when necessary. Use that strength now to protect your own light, to defend your own brilliance, to ensure that no one, absolutely no one, can extinguish the fire that burns within you. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, subscribe now and activate the notification bell to receive more messages like this, messages that come straight from the heart, that come from the spiritual plane, that come to help you walk the best possible path on this journey of life. Leave your birth date in the comments so I can continue bringing you content that is increasingly aligned with the energy of all of you. And remember, you are not alone on this journey. The divine is always by your side, guiding you, protecting you, showing you the way. You just need to pay attention to the signs and act.